Since the announcement of the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K, everybody has been ranting and raving, including myself, about how awesome this camera is, which has made a lot of people think that this is the perfect camera for them, especially as a beginner. But in this video, I'm going to tell you 5 reasons why I think it might not be. What's good, creative fan? Brandon Washington here, and in today's video we're looking at 5 reasons why the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera might not be the best camera for you. Now, even though I am going to be going over these 5 reasons, I want to go on record and saying that I myself personally still think I'm going to be picking up this camera when it comes out. So even though I'm going to be giving you guys 5 reasons why I think it might not be the perfect camera for you, I personally still think that it is one, so don't look at this as a bashing video by any means, but there are a few things that I think people need to be starting to consider when they are putting down their money for those pre-orders. So let's not waste any time, let's go ahead and jump into the very first one, and that is this camera has no autofocus. I know whenever I do camera reviews on my channel here, which if it's your first time, go ahead and subscribe. But I know when I do videos on here, one of the big selling features on a lot of cameras is the autofocus. Whenever people are comparing Canon versus Sony or Panasonic or whoever, a lot of people come down to that autofocus. A lot of people love that Canon autofocus, and this Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K, whew, that's a mouthful.
That's what she said.
This camera has no continuous autofocus, so this camera is only going to allow you to do a spot focus at the very beginning in a certain area, and then basically you're going to have to pull focus manually. So if you are considering getting this camera, make sure you are considering either using some type of follow focus system, be very used to pulling your own focus, or at least pulling focus using the focus peaking built in. Alright, so now number 2 is going to be that there is no in-body stabilization. Now this is something that I actually have never really had because I primarily shot Canon, so it really wasn't an issue for me, but for a lot of the people I've been talking to who have been considering some of the Sony brands, they are saying that how could this camera not have in-body stabilization, to which I say the camera's $12.95. You can't have it all. You can still get some lenses that have stabilization built into them, and obviously you have gimbals as a secondary option. So just keep that in mind, no in-body stabilization. Alright, now the third reason you may not want to consider this camera is the micro four thirds mount. Now I know a lot of people have been going back and forth on the internet about this micro four thirds mount. A lot of Panasonic people saying it's not a big deal, a lot of Canon people saying I'll just get an adapter, and to that I'll say go check the prices on these speed boosters. These speed boosters are not inexpensive, so if you are planning on getting this camera and getting a speed booster, make sure you budget that together, especially if you're going to want to use any of your existing Canon and or Sony mount lenses, because this is not going to be just like $100 to get a speed booster. If you want a good one that doesn't allow light leak and that actually will allow you to get something closer to a full frame type of a setup, you're definitely going to have to spend some money on a good speed booster. Alright, and now the fourth one, which is actually the one that made me think the most about this, is actually the workflow. Now obviously everyone is excited because this camera has 4K, it shoots raw at 60 frames per second, but I don't see this being small size files. So this means that you are going to have to work on a massive workflow size. For those of you guys who don't know, I actually have a Canon 1DX Mark II which uses CFast 2.0 cards, and these cards, 1, are not inexpensive, and 2, if it's having to write to these CFast 2.0 cards in the 4K 60 at raw, that means these files are going to be massive, because that is why it needs such a fast card. I should have immediately known that something was up when they also gave you the option to write directly to a hard drive, because that means that these things are going to be massive files, which is not going to play well with a lot of people's computers. So start figuring out your workflow if you are considering this camera, because either you're going to have to create proxies, or you're going to have to convert it to ProRes, or you're going to have to do something if you're going to be working with these massive files. Now obviously we don't know for sure yet, which actually leads me into my 5th and final point, and that is nothing is set in stone yet with this camera. Blackmagic is known in the past for making these big announcements, making these broad statements, and then something else happening when the camera finally comes out. And I hope I really hope that that is not the case here, but we do not know. I mean, from what we do know, at least right now, is that the production model that we actually saw on the floor at NAB isn't even the final design. It's actually going to be a carbon fiber type design, which should make it a little bit lighter, but ultimately this product is not finished yet. So this was more of a concept leading to production type design thing, so we don't really know exactly what's going to happen. Trust me, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I myself personally am still going to probably be picking up this camera, but I don't know for sure yet, just because again, nothing has been set in stone. I have personally not pre-ordered it yet because I want more information first. I would love to see some footage. I would love to see how it grades. I would love to see those stops to dynamic range, and I would love to see the file sizes on this new 4K 60 frames per second raw going straight to a hard drive. I don't know exactly what it's going to be when it's all said and done, but these were 5 things that I was actually talking to one of you guys about, and I really wanted to just jot it all down, put it in the video, and just give you guys a couple of my thoughts as far as what we could be expecting from this camera, and a couple things to look out for as we start getting more and more information on this camera. But if you like this video and you like videos like this, definitely consider checking out some of the other videos that I've done, as well as if you're new to the channel and you love filmmaking gear, tips, tutorials, all that great stuff, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button, because I love having you guys along for the journey, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.